Hey everyone, this is Derek Bros with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today I want to give you guys an update on an intentional community that I plan to launch in 2020 and beyond. And first off, though, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com to make sure you can get all of our latest content instead of relying on social media, even decentralized alternative social media. Just go to our website, bookmark theconsciousresistance.com, sign up for our newsletter, and make sure you're getting all of our content so you can be informed and educated about what's going on and the things that I'm investigating and researching, and hopefully you'll find valuable. So the goal of today's video is to talk about an intentional community that some of you may remember. I actually did this video back in May 2016. You can see there's old me with very short hair after I shaved my head. This video is titled Launching a Homestead Project in Texas, and I'll just play a brief clip of this real quick. Over whether ownership of land is even a worthy battle. I have a good friend, Michael Fielding, the Sailboat Diaries, who promotes the idea of squatting and temporary autonomous zones, and really not trying to have anything or maintain anything that's permanent. And also there's some people who believe that mobility is freedom, having a tiny home or an RV or just being able to pick up and leave when you want. So we'll have future videos where we debate the ideas of squatting versus ownership or possession, and the idea. All right, so I'm going to pause that real quick. So essentially, for those who might not recall, I talked about launching this intentional community back in 2016. This video was May 2016 that it first came out. And my plan here, as I stated in this video, is that after first promoting the concept of freedom cells and starting to meet with my freedom cell in Houston, that myself and another group of individuals, we were planning on launching a homestead project in the Houston area around Texas towards the end of 2016, 2017. This was when I first got the idea in my head. The ideas were still forming, talking about forming a community around the principles of non-aggression, permaculture and sustainability, and mindfulness. This was 2016, as I said, a year before I actually put out my third book, The Manifesto of the Free Humans. And as you guys can see right here on screen, this is from the book Part 3, Creating Conscious Agoras, where I actually discuss in more detail this intentional community. I just want to read this briefly to you. Essentially what we're saying is that we see our intentional community existing among the myriad of diverse and unique intentional communities that would likely exist in a stateless world. But also, we're not trying to just envision what we want to live in some potential future that may or may not come, whether or not the state collapses, but to actually talk about how can we put these principles into action and show people in the real world what it looks like to live with non-aggression and with mutual respect and without government, essentially. And so we describe that in this book, what we want to put out. And I say right here, our vision of an intentional community will be one among the many coexisting communities, microstates, communes, neighborhoods, and other yet to be discovered ways of self-organizing. The actual formation of such a community is slated to begin in early 2020, and we will spend the next 4 years building towards this goal via the Freedom Cell movement. So the next 3 chapters in the book go into describing that community more specifically, talking about the sovereignty of the individual, talking about permagora, and talking about mindfulness. And this pyramid right here that you guys can see, which is what I developed, and I actually talked about this in the other video, now it's actually done. Sovereignty of the individual, which is the non-aggression principle. Mindfulness, this could be yoga, meditation, just prayer, just healthy living in general. Permagora, the combination of permaculture and agorism, together with the counter-economic and agorist strategy, creating what we call the conscious agora. This is what I'm planning to create. But the news that I wanted to share with you guys is that I no longer plan to do this in Texas. I don't even plan to do this in the United States. I am officially making it clear, everybody around me has already known this, my close friends, but I'm making it clear to those online, maybe this is not a wise idea, but I'm making it clear my intention to leave the United States within the next year. I imagine that by 2020 I will be out of the United States. I don't want to say permanently forever because life is long and who knows what's going to happen, but I no longer find it safe to put my time, money, energy, and effort into a community buying property in the United States while I'm living surrounded by people who are promoting civil war, while I'm living in a place where the media is promoting and stoking division, while more and more activists are falling prey to that division, while the politicians continue to promote division, and while there is things like the 5G grid, the smart grid coming up in 2019, 2020. Also, by next year here in the United States, you will not be allowed to fly domestically unless you allow them to do some sort of biometrics, facial recognition scanning, retina scanning, maybe a thumbprint. These things are just becoming too invasive for my comfort value. And if I ever decide to bring a child into this crazy world, I definitely don't want them to be raised around that environment thinking that those things are normal. Again, I won't say I'll never come back to the United States or that I'll be gone forever or something. And I'm not even going to say where I plan to go because it's not 100% sure. But I do plan to still launch an intentional community. It might just be me and my close loved ones. It might not necessarily be a public thing, but I am still open to hearing from you guys and discussing and collaborating and working with some of you, especially those who might already have established communities outside of the United States. I want to come visit your communities. I want to come document them. I want to come learn from you. I want to come share my ideas. I want to come, collaborate together and see how we can build something together. So if you're interested in this intentional community, my plan is still to work towards 2020, 2021. And the reason I chose that is because I figured when we were releasing the book in 2017 that we were right around the time of the elections, as we were writing this. And that by 2020, people are going to be upset again, right? One way or another, whether Trump is in office or they're trying to remove Trump or Trump's trying to run again or Hillary Clinton's trying to run or whoever, whatever politicians, no matter where you live, right? Politicians are going to come and they're going to promise all kinds of things. And I want to show people that, look, if you put your time and energy into voting and to politics, whether it's for Donald Trump, the left or the right, you're still playing the game. You're still participating in an evil system. But if that's what you choose to do, do so. Because some of you say, well, Derek, I can opt out of the system. I can participate in the counter economy. I can learn about agorism and counter economics and opt out of systems and vacate the state. And I can still vote. That's fine. All I'm asking, all I'm requesting is that when you place your vote in 2020, also go plant a garden, go get involved in your community, do something of value, and see which one of those brings more fruit and more value back to your life. What I'm going to do is launch an intentional community, and as I said, maybe just by myself or with close friends or with a tight-knit group of people that collaborate where we're on the same mindset and the same values and have an understanding. And then we can show people what it's like to put these ideas into action. I still want a community that can have several different types of alternative architecture. I don't want to just go get a piece of land and live with people who just want to build a regular house and be on the electric grid and do all that stuff. Like, that's fine for some people, but to me that doesn't serve the purpose. I don't want to just move to the countryside so that I can, still be dependent on these people. I want to get more involved in solar, geothermal, permaculture, aquaponics, all these different aspects. I've mentioned before, I want to build myself a little hobbit house, a cob house. I have so many different interests in building an alternative way of life, not just in principles and in ethics and in values, but in the way we actually interact with the planet, with the animals, and with each other. I want to showcase this and have this central hub where we could have monthly markets where people can come participate and buy the products that we're either growing or creating. And we could do it in a counter-economic way. We have a market where people can come pay in cash, or they can use cryptocurrency or barter networks, or maybe we create our own internal currency. The point is, we're not dependent on the state for our food. We're not using their currency, and we can showcase people the ideas. I can teach people about the ideas that I explore in my books and all of my work for those who find it valuable. And it could be a great hub for community activity. We could hold radical musical festivals. I mean, all kinds of different things, farmers markets. This is my vision. This is what I'm going to continue to work towards. I'm still pretty far away from it, I'll say financially, but intellectually, mentally, spiritually, I am getting ready every day, getting more and more ready every single day. And I will continue until it takes place. So I'm going to be spending the next year, this coming 2019, doing the work that you guys have become accustomed to me doing. I'm going to be writing another book. I'm going to be promoting the philosophy of freedom cells and agorism because I feel like that's part of this. I have to lay the foundation, spread the ideas far and wide so that there is a fertile foundation from which to build upon, right? And I'm going to continue to do that, but also 2019 is definitely going to be pulling away from these systems. I've deleted my cell phone. I'm getting ready to opt out of the mainstream social media networks. I'm going to, just really start pulling myself out of the system as much as possible and trying to go somewhere where I feel safer, where perhaps the federal government is poor and has less money, has less resources and less time and ability to come mess with those of us who just want to create our own free communities. I don't want to do it here in the United States and turn into the next Waco, right? And I don't want to be surrounded, have my little hub of free community, but then be surrounded by chaos and madness. And the last thing I want to say on this is not running away either, because I've been one of those types that have always said, well, if we just leave the United States, it's just going to spread everywhere else, because the United States is the #1 country right now, and right behind them you have China. So if we let the United States fall to tyranny, then we're going to have the top 2 or 3 nations in the world, Russia, China, the US, and others, who are tyrannical and fascist nations. And that's not going to be good, and that's going to end up spreading everywhere no matter where we go. I still believe that. So this is not about running away or putting my head in the sand. It is because I am a student of history, and I realize that radical movements, radical individuals, oftentimes in history, have to leave their home country to stay alive. And that doesn't mean they never come back, but they stay alive long enough to continue to propagate the message. And since we have the internet, obviously I could spread awareness from wherever I'm at. I don't have to be in the United States to do that. You can stay alive, you can propagate the message, and I believe there will be a role for underground railroad type networks, just like we have in China, just like we have in North Korea and other places where there's still a counter economy, a black and gray market where people are funneling information and goods and services illegally into the state. There's going to be a need for people to help funnel people in and out of the United States who, once they shut down the borders and keep everybody trapped in, and to funnel goods and information and services. I see my role as probably being involved in that in some degree. So this is the plan I have for the future. This is what I see coming. If you're interested in the intentional community, the ideas I have now as of 2018, then please do reach out to me. You can contact me at derek@theconsciousresistance.com, derek@theconsciousresistance.com. And I'm excited for this because my ideas have evolved in the last 2 years since I've done this other video. My hair has grown, and I'm just excited to see what comes of the future. I'm also excited to get the heck out of here before things get too crazy, and maybe come back once they settle down, but we'll see. So let me know what your thoughts are below. Are you going to stay in the United States with all this chaos coming up? 2020, guys, they're pushing towards a civil war. They're pushing towards facial recognition. They're pushing towards the smart grid. A lot of things are coming up in 2020, and I don't think it's going to be a good time to be in the United States. But those are just my thoughts, and that could be just the ravings of one paranoid man, or it could be the insight you need to stay alive. So you decide. For now, though, I will let you guys go and hope to hear your thoughts on this. Again, reach out to me if you have intentional communities that I can come visit and learn from, or if we can share ideas and resources. I appreciate your time, your energy, and all of your efforts to create a better world and to empower each of us as strong individuals so that we can change the world, so we don't have to rely on violence, so we don't have to rely on government. Because the truth of the matter is, it's not the left, it's not the right, it's the people up top who are screwing us over. And until we can actually show people in the real world what freedom looks like and what empowered individuals look like, they're just going to imagine it doesn't exist, and they're going to think we're crazy. So it's time to build, it's time to grow, and as they say, build it and they will come. So we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.